Hello and welcome to EE233. I'm your instructor, Gregory Myers. In this video, we're going to take another look at the command line. This is something that we're going to use quite extensively throughout this semester. And so what I'd like to do is I'd like to show you a few tips and tricks to get you started with being able to navigate using your command line, and also hopefully speed up some of your assignments. So to begin with, this assumes that you have already installed NetBeans, and then you've been able to successfully create your first executable, as we will be using it a little bit in just a few minutes. If you have not yet done so, I would encourage you to do it, but it is not absolutely necessary. So to begin with, what we want to do is, assuming that you're on a Windows computer, you want to go ahead and hit the Windows key and R and type in CMD. Now, the first thing you'll notice is this black box that pops up and this path. This is your current user, the one that you are actually logged into on your computer. And so it's very important to note that some of y'all may have multiple accounts on your computer, particularly a non-administrator and an administrator account. That's the way that I have my computer set up. Also, don't worry too much about the name. In this particular case, I had reinstalled my computer and then set up a couple of different accounts, and this was just the default that Windows assigned, and I just never bothered to fix it. First thing that you want to be able to do, though, is you want to type in dir, and you'll see that you have a number of files and folders. And how do you indicate the difference? Well, there is a dir next to it, as well as the files will have nothing underneath it. And if we go into one of our folders, particularly if we go into our documents folder, so CD documents, and then if we want to go a little bit further, we type in dir, and then I'm going to switch to my courses, or CD to my courses folder, dir once again, and then lastly to EE233. Little less clutter. In this case, now I just have folders and no files. And so let's go ahead and drill down into one of our projects. So we're going to look at our projects folder, dir, and then CD to P1, dir. And you'll notice that once again, I have a combination of files and folders. And the files, once again, are indicated or identified by the lack, I guess you could say, of this dir. And you'll notice there is our P1.c. Now, assuming that this is your first experience with a command line, or one of your first experiences with command line, this can be a little disorienting. And so what we'd like to do now is we'd like to open up the same folder in Explorer as what we have on the command line. And to do that, you can just simply type in Explorer with a period. And that means that you want to open Explorer in the current directory. And that single dot indicates the current directory. And you'll see that this becomes relevant in just a little bit. A window should pop up, and it should have the exact same files that you see in the folder when you type in dir. If you do not see all of them, or if you're in a different folder and you do not see a match, then what you want to do is make sure and go to View and select Hidden Items, as well as select the file name extensions. We will definitely need to know what file extensions we're using. And so if you'll notice, if I unselect this and then refresh, on this particular case, I don't have any files that were hidden. I'd have to go to a different directory. But what would happen is any hidden files would then be unable to be seen, and your file extensions should disappear. I have details selected as well. Now, from here, what you want to do is note that you can also change directory up. So by typing in CD and then 2 dots, this actually takes you to the next directory up. So in this case, I am now sitting in my folder with all of my projects, as well as another special command, or rather another special parameter for CD, and that is just simply the /. And that will take you the whole way back to your root drive, at which point you can then change to other directories. And so, for instance, I can go to my Scratch directory, or I can go to my software directory. Notice I'm just typing in a few letters and then hitting Tab. So to get us quickly back to our P1, which was, if you recall, in your current user folder, in your documents, in your courses, in this case 233, projects, P1, distribution, debug, and MinGW. We can do this either one directory at a time or all at once. And there's a couple of ways that you can go about doing this. So the first thing that you can do is you, of course, can simply do this by using autocomplete. And in this case, I'm just going to type in a letter and then hit Tab. And then to complete, in this case, I can just hit Tab, and this will go through every single folder until I get to the right one. So there's a couple of options there. Shift Tab, of course, will take you back. So there's forward, and then Shift Tab will take you back. And at this point, then I can just continue going through my projects until I get to the distribution, the debug, MinGW folder, and there you go. There's your p1.exe and your output.txt. That's one possibility. You'll get pretty good at that. I do want to show you another one, and that is that you can actually come over to Explorer and you can go ahead and copy the entire path out of the address bar. You can come back to your command line and you can just simply type in CD and then right click, and then this will also do it. So you got a couple of different ways that you can go about doing this. Now, a couple of other commands that I would like to show you how to do from the command line is going to be things like the delete function. Okay, and so how would you delete files? And so if we type in del and then our output.txt and hit enter, you'll see that it disappears from the right-hand side. We can also delete multiple files and folders, but I would encourage you to take a look at the help for the delete function. So by typing in del / and then question mark, you get additional information on how the delete function works. Now, please note, this is probably your first opportunity to use switches. This is something that we will use quite extensively throughout this course. And then once again, I want to show you how to pipe or to capture the output from your p1.exe. And we can run our p1.exe, but we can also, and let it print from the command line, sorry, but we can also then print the output from the p1.exe to a file by simply using our greater than symbol. And once again, there's our output.txt. All right, so the last thing I want to show you is just that there are a lot of features on the Windows operating system that use these command line switches. And this is essentially what we're going to be building throughout the semester, is going to be nothing but command line executables. And we're going to leverage this switch functionality quite a bit ourselves. And understand a good example of one of the most common one that you're going to probably run into at some point is going to be the Ipconfig function. And once again, this is not related to your P1 project. This is just more of a demonstration of the purposes of switches, so that if you type in Ipconfig by itself, it gives you an abbreviated version of the information about your computer networking properties. In this case, what I want to do is I want to type in Ipconfig /, and it will give you all sorts of options associated with the executable Ipconfig. And what I would like to do now is run my Ipconfig /all, and you'll see that it gives me all of the information about my laptop's networking, including the preferred IP address, which we will use later on in another course. At this point, once you're done, you can simply close the command window or you can type in exit. Now, this is by no means all of the functionality of the command window. We're actually going to see that we can do quite a bit more, but this should help you get started with navigating the file system. The one last thing that I want to show you that may be useful is the make directory function. So once again, I'm going to open up my command window. I'm going to cd to documents, courses, EE233, and in this case, I just want to put a new folder inside my EE233 folder. So I'm going to just simply do mkdir, and if you want to see the help, it tells you a little bit about how to create folders or the syntax. This is a very simple command here. And in this case, what I want to do is I just want to make directory something called sample. And now if I type in dir, you'll see in addition to the folders that were already there, there is now a sample folder. Since there are no subfolders in sample, you can also simply delete the sample, although you will be prompted whether or not you're sure. In this case, I am sure. And once again, 1 second here. Thought I hit, so delete. In case of delete with a folder, you'll take a look here. You actually want to delete the folder and not just simply the file. But you'll notice that the folder is still there. As a matter of fact, if we go over here to Explorer, you'll see that sample is still there. Now, what I want to do here is to demonstrate how the delete function works, is if you put a sample text file inside, in this case, new text document, if I want type in delete sample and I select yes, you'll see that it's actually deleting all of the files from the sample folder, but not the folder itself. To delete the folder itself, we use a similar command to the make directory. In this case, it's going to be remove directory. And in this case, I want to remove the directory sample. And you'll notice that over here on the right, sample is no longer there, as well as if I type in dir, it's no longer there. So once again, I'm going to select type in exit or close my window. Hopefully you found this video useful. It's once again just meant as a little bit of a brief introduction to command line tools, how you can use the switches to get access to the help, and hopefully give you some idea of what we're going to be doing in the future. As always, thank you for watching. If you have any questions or suggestions, don't hesitate to email me.